Hello, this is MD McCollum. Some of you know me as Warlord. What we're doing today is taking a look at Colonial Defense Force Starfighter. It's an early access VR game over at Steam. And there's no way that I can convey the 3D aspects. I mean, that's the biggest problem that people are having. Whether you write about it, film it, unless you go to a lot of trouble, right now there's just not a good way to convey to you the depth of 3D. All we can say is that when you turn to the side, you're actually seeing something that's beside you or even behind you. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm talking about. What we're about to do here now is go down the longest launch tube in VR history, at least. And it's not really a launch tube. You just take off and fly down it. You don't get launched down it. So it's not something that just, takes off. But it does take a while to get down it. And once you get out, you'll notice I look to the side. In fact, I spent almost all my time in this looking to the side because all this is just to fly around the ship and then come back and land. But you'll notice here as I come out, I'll look over to my left and start looking behind me and then fly that direction. And my head is actually turning that direction inside that virtual cockpit. I'm seated in a swivel chair, so I actually am turning my head that direction inside that chair. In some cases, I'm even swiveling the chairs a bit. Of course, you're inside the cockpit. It's all the way around you. You're completely surrounded anywhere you look. So what it's doing here is it's just going to fly around, and then I'm going to land back on the craft. So we'll just sit back and take a look at that. As you can see, the artwork in this game is pretty nice. I've not played a lot of it, but what I've played so far, I really do like. We'll probably be doing a review on this game also. They put little touches in it, like putting a few more people around, things like that. Hallways that are built very nicely. The graphics are really quite nice for VR. And I say for VR because in some cases, some are going back to simpler graphics. In other cases, people are pushing it like this. What's wild too is you do have to keep a watch on the other side there. That big asteroid is right there. You can fly around that asteroid. You can fly around it belly towards it. You can fly around it upside down. It's a totally different experience than any way of flying in a game that I've ever done. And I've played games since Text Adventures, and this is something like I have never experienced. As you can see, these screens, they're built to be like holographic overlays. My only problem with the red one on the left is it is flat, and that's where you see the enemies on, and it makes it kind of hard to see because they're not doing that in 3D. But I think this is an indie developer, and it's quite a game actually. Now we're just going to switch over into takeoff on a different ship, different area, different carrier. You can't really see it there. I'm just looking around inside the hangar or inside the launch bay. Now this is a different ship I'm in, as you can tell. The cockpit really does wrap around you. I mean, there's button and switches beside you. In this, they're non-functional, but with the way controllers work, it wouldn't be difficult at all to make them functional. There, I'm just showing you what it looks like. This is kind of a Wing Commander style game, actually, from what I've seen so far. Or as close to it as I've seen since the old Wing Commander games. And that was one of the things that I really loved back then, using a joystick. Of course, that was back in the days of the old game controllers. Now, this does use a game pad. That's why it's a little jerky. I'm not very good with the game pad, so I'm not using the Vive controllers on this. But you'll be able to see here how close you can get to things. It responds real well. The sense of depth you have when you're actually playing the game, since you're immersed in it, you can get that close to something without fear of running into it, mainly because you can see it. It's there. It looks real. There's depth to it, and your perception can judge it better than just looking on a flat monitor. I can tell you right now that what little bit of time I've had to actually play with it, monitor-based games are going to never be the same for me. It's going to be hard for them to catch my attention now. And it's going to be a while before VR catches on. But there's no doubt, once you experience it, and I'm not talking about the naysayers that's never had a headset on, but once you experience it, particularly something like the Vive, I can't speak to the Oculus, I haven't seen that yet, but something like the Vive is just unbelievable. If you have a table next to you, you feel like you want to lean on the table or you want to sit on that table. It can also be very easy to fall or have a mishap. So if you play by yourself, you do want to be careful. Now here I'm just swinging around and coming back into land. Again, this is something that for some is difficult on a monitor, for a lot it's not. But in actual VR, or the VR verse as I call it, it is so easy because you're right there. It's all around you, it seems like. So again, while I know this did not convey the aspect of the depth, the 3D, it just hopefully shows you a little bit by looking around the cockpit as to what can be done.